Do it.
Let's do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. My sweetie, do it.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at NBNRPodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 4, episode 44.
It's a lot of fours.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. In 2024.
The 444 episode. Some might say the Garrett Nelson ep.
I got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, very big shoes.
Big shoes.
No pressure.
He's the runner-up in the UFL.
Who am I missing with 44?
Well, we had
Crap.
Dickie Shuffle. No, defensive tackle.
Jace.
Knee problems.
You got to be more specific.
It's
brother.
okay. Is it Mick?
Mick
Stoltenberg.
Yeah.
Stoltenberg.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Just had to run that little exercise. Get us prepared for this episode.
Yeah. There we go.
That's all we do. You guys, let's get into the drinks that we are drinking because Nebraska Brewing Company is one of our main sponsors.
Shout out to Nebraska Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Indeed. I am drinking Squeeze the Day.
Wow. Look at you.
I will get Pickle Fight later, but I am starting with Squeeze the Day. It's not as hot as I thought it would be today. But
don't tempt the weather.
I know,
it's gonna be hot anyway.
The rain got there. That's what cooled it down.
Yeah,
well, and then the College World Series is on, so don't do anything that would cause that to stop playing.
No, that'll be tomorrow night.
We don't need another 1:30 a.m. end time.
There was supposed to be clouds tonight, and as we walked in here today, it doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case.
Fine by me. I was gonna say, what you didn't like that? You didn't like midnight baseball? I thought it was cool.
I watched it anyway.
Until about 12:45, and it lost me. And I didn't get to see the end of it.
I stayed through it, but I was a dead man the next day.
I have the week off from the series, so I'm staying as far away from it as I can. I haven't watched.
Close your eyes.
This is the most of the CWS I've watched since I watched.
You missed a lot of great games.
Yeah,
you did miss.
We get provided tickets in my current situation.
Yeah,
and I provided them to some of our clients. I've heard they've been great. I'm like, that's good. I've been sleeping at night. I've been getting up with my kids and not having to work. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Smart man.
I did the same thing. Sometimes you just need to have a little break. That's all.
Yeah. The station asked me, like, you want to do something this year? I went, do I have the choice not to? Because that'd be great.
Are you giving me a choice?
I'd love to have the work week off.
Connor Kavalek, what you got?
All right. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been hiding the can the entire time. I am also drinking Squeeze the Day.
Wow. Did you guys plan this?
No, I didn't. I was hiding it because I was expecting you guys to give me shit for drinking Pilsner. But Squeeze the Day, again, perfect summer beer. But I've been down at Blatt all this last weekend. We serve a lot of beer there, and that's all I've been drinking. It's a close number 2 to Pilsner for me.
Wow, it is
a close number 2.
Pilsner away.
No, it's not doing that.
One
but it's
can
getting
at
close.
a time.
It's getting close.
Is it on tap at
It is on tap.
There you go.
Yeah,
at the Blatt down
at
at
a
College
number
World
of bars
Series.
down
Let's
there.
go.
Yeah,
that's awesome. We'll be down there tomorrow, doing a little live show at 10:45 a.m. So that'll be fun.
Not at Blatt.
Not at Blatt, but downtown. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But
Mike, what you got?
I am back to Old Reliable. The EOS Hefeweizen is the best beer at Nebraska Brewing Company. It's not even close.
Dang.
And I haven't had it in a couple of weeks, so I thought I would
that I would tap back into it.
He said not even close, Connor. Not even close.
Nothing close. Nothing is close to this beer. And I like all the other ones. This is just it separates itself.
I love that there's 4 of us on the 5, including Jimmy.
He's like,
there are 4
fuck me, I guess,
of the show. But there are, I think, 3 different beers that we all consider the best. I think you and Kyle
We have the same one.
Yeah. I think you might be
guys
similar.
I just came around the wrong time in my life. I quit drinking 4 years ago, and I can't give my opinion. I apologize.
That's okay. You know what?
Just side with me. Just say it's Pilsner.
I think you're correct.
See, there we go.
Yeah, there
Thank
you
you,
go.
Jimmy.
Mike very rarely knows what he's talking about, so I'll just
There you
assume
go.
He's wrong.
Bingo.
Hey, our boy Josh Eberhardt says 6, including him in the chat.
Yeah,
Hey, Joshy.
There we
Josh,
go.
you can drink for me. Have
Yeah.
2.
There we go.
Yeah.
I don't drink. I heavily encourage it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. By the way, I'm drinking the EOS Hefeweizen as well. Since I'm already on the camera, I figured I'd just throw that. in.
Yeah. It's a fantastic beer. Show them the can. Show them
Yeah.
the can. Look at that.
So you agree with Mike? Is it like not even close to like the best one? I seriously think so. I think it is the smoothest, like softest beer that they.
Soft.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
From
Mike.
Mr.
You guys
Taco
a little-
Mesa buyers over there. You're saying it's not close?
It's not close.
It's not close.
Oh.
It's that good.
Yeah. I just like how he said it's the softest.
The softest.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant.
Like I don't know what
Can
you
you
mean.
explain?
It's like, okay, so my allergies have been whooping my ass all day today. And like the last thing that I needed was like to come in here after just being all congested was like to have something that might cause a little bit of heartburn.
Okay.
Right? Like something like citrusy. So I needed something like smooth and soft. And this is like, this is it.
Anybody that's under the age of 30 has no idea what you just
Yeah.
meant. You'll figure it out someday.
Yeah. They'll figure it out.
Ever heard of indigestion?
You will.
Kyle,
Yeah.
does EOS just make you feel like you're the little spoon? It's just 12 ounces in a can while you drink. It's just, I'm a little spoon. I'm comfortable. It's soft.
It's so secure.
Yeah.
It's your big spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Hey.
beer is really caressing my insides.
There's somebody out there that's like, you
That-
know what?
that one
I need
felt
this beer.
wrong.
Yes. You don't know what I mean when I say it, but you know what I mean when I say it. It's soft.
I do,
It's a
but I'm-
soft beer.
I don't know how I
Comfortable.
feel that he's like nodded in silence at first.
Yeah. My therapist works overtime
hey.
because of this show.
We're on the same page, man. Hey, help me out, Connor. Nebraska Brewing Company. No matter what beer you get, world class.
In every glass.
All right. Hey,
Look at these cans. Top of the line, man. Those
Top
are
of the line,
fantastic.
baby.
it's good stuff, man. I'm telling you.
I do think they should get us some glassware in here so we can put the proper beer in the proper glass. But
Hey, I'm sure they'd be willing to do that.
yeah, then but I don't want to do dishes, so there's that.
Let's get that washer and
Mike
dryer
would
out of the
not.
back of the studio.
Never mind. I don't want to get into all that. Living with Mike and all our exploits.
Fuck off.
Anyway, hey, we have
Don't
with
let
us.
me stop you.
Wait, yeah. Is Mike not good at doing dishes?
There's
Is
a
that what
reason
I'm
why
hearing?
he doesn't want me to say shit.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I say it out loud for the people to hear, he's gonna go, "Oh fuck, I'm kind of a dirty boy."
You ain't much better.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You ain't much better.
Hey, we have with us Jimmie Allen.
I finally made it.
Hey,
Listen.
it's been 2 years in the making.
I called 1620 The Zone and told him I'm retiring from my radio career because I finally reached the pinnacle. There's no higher achievement in radio and podcasting than being on the No Block No Rock podcast.
I will say, out of all the local media people, it's finally nice to get you on.
Oh,
because
is it?
we've been trying for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
You're just
Been
such
trying really hard.
you're just such a
This
busy
This guy books me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm on my way." He's like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. We got so and so on tonight." I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, Jimmy's
Oh, yeah,
here.
I
Go let
forgot
him
about
in."
that. I
Don't
forgot
let him
about
in. It's all good. I actually forgot to.
Yeah.
So it was my fault as well.
Well, like we went on your show After Hours. That was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was like
About,
2
yeah.
years ago. Yeah, we did your little you were doing those
You
the
guys
Facebook lives. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
those Facebook
yeah,
lives.
that's right. Yeah,
And we came on with you and Rob.
that's right.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
totally remember.
See?
Where was this at?
We were
were
at the
still in the
brewery.
brewery,
and
yeah.
He was
you
over
were-
Zoom.
You were on Zoom. So it was like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I do remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You were doing like
my
some-
life is a blur.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. Yes. Well,
Same.
thank you guys for doing that. It was the highlight of our show, and I totally remember.
yeah,
this.
I know. We do leave our mark.
Hey, so
Shout out to Rob Love. I just had lunch with him the other day.
Yeah.
what'd you have?
We stopped at Cunningham's Pub.
Hey, that place
Very
is
nice.
good.
Yeah.
Place
Never
is solid.
Never had it.
It's good
You're
food.
missing out. The
Good Reuben.
the salmon wrap is second to none.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even close, as some would say.
Okay. Hey, I want to ask you.
Okay.
Jimmie Allen.
Oh boy.
No.
I'm
This is a
super excited
perfect
for this question.
perfect topic.
Sure.
Because it's timely.
Can I?
Oh, I know where we're going.
Okay, go ahead. Because I have a question for you guys also.
Okay.
I'll answer your question with
your I don't want to say former radio mate, but
Adrian Martinez.
Adrian Martinez.
Yeah.
UFL MVP and champ.
And championship game MVP.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I said I was going to answer your question with a question. So I'll let you finish. Then I'll ask
No, I just wanted to get your overall thoughts on that and just like I guess the next logical question for all of us is, can he use this as a springboard for a invitation to an NFL camp,
or a springboard back to your show? Right.
I think so. So I think that's why my question to your question is perfect, because I was going to ask if you guys are afraid of having a Creighton guy on and get all that flack on Twitter.
Oh, no.
But I think this
we had Drake on.
It's so funny. I'll tweet out something about Dylan Rahal and people. You're a Creighton guy. You can't tweet about this. It's like I got a red end tattooed on my calf. Get off.
And we had Happer on too.
Yeah, I guess we had
We've had several Creighton guys.
No, but about Adrian, and I tweeted this out the other day, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Whenever his story is done being written, it's going to be one of the best you've ever seen. And to answer your question, as I almost break something, is this will be he loved his time in Birmingham and put in a ton of work. And if you watched any of those games, like they mic up the coaches, Skip Holtz coaches him the entire time.
Yeah.
And I think that gets kind of a bad rap because they only really show it when it's communication with the quarterback. That's how Skip Holtz coaches. And I think it's a refreshment for Adrian. And you kind of saw it in that 2-point conversion in the championship game. For anybody that watched it, they kind of give it back to each other a little bit. And they didn't really show a lot of that on camera during the season. But I mean, he's gone down there and he's put in the work. And when he was here, even when he was doing my show, a lot of people don't know this. And he told the story kind of, and I don't think he'd mind me telling this, but like there were days where he was flying to Cleveland, flying to Pittsburgh, flying to Houston, and was back by 6 p.m. to do our show. So, like, he never slowed down the NFL. Like, he wasn't playing for the Lions or playing in the NFL, but he was working out for a handful of teams. And watching him go through that process and never lose sight of the dream. And we'd had a lot of conversations just about what the spring was going to look like for him. And we knew him being on the show was going to be short term, and we formed a really good friendship through it. But he was like, I'm not done with football yet. And he's put a lot of thought into the what he's going to do after football. And he's a really forward thinker. I had to remind myself a lot that he was 23 because he's
so mature.
And it's incredible.
Old soul.
He's been like that since he was 18 though.
What you see when he was at the podium is who he is as a person and as a man. And to think like I was watching that game when they got up by 2 scores. I just started thinking about the fact that this dude was just doing a radio show in Omaha, got on a plane on Christmas, gets the offer to go play in Birmingham, walks in, takes the UFL by storm. And obviously, like, he wins the MVP, but it wasn't without, I mean, it's kind of the story of his career, right? Like, there was a little bit of turmoil, and obviously the Matt Corral situation was there from the beginning. And he dealt with that here with Tristan Gebbia and then Luke McCaffrey, and just never wavered. And you're never going to outwork him. And whoever he ends up playing for in the NFL, and I mean that sincerely, because I don't think it's even a question if he's going to. I think he absolutely will be on a team sooner rather than later, is going to get a guy that, even if he doesn't start, is going to push that quarterback room because he just doesn't stop working.
Yeah.
I think if you just want, being a starting quarterback in the NFL, I mean, there's literally 32 people
in the world,
in the whole world, that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the toughest position in sports, but you get a guy like that in your locker room. I can only assume that it would help with camaraderie, help with just all the non-playing aspects of football.
That first episode we did where he came in, and he might not want me telling this, but I'll tell it anyway. We didn't know each other from Adam. I saw he came back and was in Trev's office, and I just sent him a message. It was like, hey, man, I know you used to do a podcast. Rob was leaving the show, and I was like, I didn't know if you had any plans I was like, I'd love to have you come in and do radio. And I was like, hey, he probably won't respond. 10 minutes goes by. He said, hell yeah, where do I go? And I was like, well,
I'm here. I'm outside, dude.
We can talk about due diligence and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, yeah, how about I just come in once? We'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there. And I was like, yeah, sure. So, I mean, he can't, like, he showed up, shook my hand, was like, hey, thanks for this, thanks for that. I'm like, no, thank you. Thank you for being here. But that's just who he is. And he brought up, like, we can cuss, right?
Yeah.
He was like, he was on radio, so he radio edited it, but he said some quarterbacks are assholes and some quarterbacks are, there to help you be better. And he's like, and you can kind of see who those guys are in their respective quarterback room. And like we talked about the Jebbia thing, we talked about the Luke McCaffrey thing, and he was like, both those guys were class acts and were more than willing to help the room be better. And he's like, even when I had to step out of the way for that one game for Luke, I was there for Luke. And he's like, and that can go so far, even just for somebody, even if they fail, to be like, okay, I've got somebody here I can rely on.
Well, yeah. And then if you look at the career path and everything, you got Luke McCaffrey, who ended up, flourishing as a receiver.
Yeah.
And then you look at even shifting to UFL, Matt Corral. I mean, he had to do the same thing. He had to be Matt Corral's biggest fan at points during the season. Sure. And then vice versa.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I think Matt was reciprocated that. I think it's got to be so hard of a situation, right? Because both of them played incredibly well. Matt struggled at the beginning, which is why Adrian got the shot anyway. But it ended up working out, and it's kind of it's got to be a hard thing to be like, all right, I lost my job to this guy, but we're winning. Mm-hmm. How do you cheer against that? And it's got to be a really tough situation, even if you want to take that other approach.
I think Adrian is. And I'm not saying it's a rare breed, but
no, it absolutely is.
I think he's got that, what I would call warrior mindset. Mm-hmm. And I know it's overused, but you ask Adrian for 100%, he's giving you 120. And I think you see that
translated to radio too, by the way.
Yeah.
Came in with topics, was ready, and it was such a breath of fresh air. And like, this is like, I've had this conversation with Rob Love, so he wouldn't mind me saying, like, we got to the point where Rob was having a lot going on. He wanted to like kind of step away, and it showed when like he would show up unprepared and self-admittedly. And Adrian walked in and was like, I want to talk about this. Let's get into that. Like, he's like, we'll talk about things other than football. And it was, and now I have that with John Schreiner as well, who's my co-host now. And when you have and you guys can attest this, when you have somebody that does this with you and they bring something if they bring anything to the table, it's such a breath of fresh air. And I 100% had that with Adrian. I have 150% of it now with John Schreiner. And I can't be more thankful for it.
Yeah. You guys have a really good balance, you and John do.
So, and I'll stop saying this dirty word after this. We met doing Creighton softball. We didn't know each other before that. Yeah, we were doing play-by-play of the broadcast, and that's really where we hit it off. And when the spot opened up, it was just like, that was my first call. Yeah, and he's answered the bell tenfold.
The quality's been fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know you're lying, but I appreciate it.
I genuinely listen to your show.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when you show up and you've got somebody that wants to be there and they're as hungry as you, especially. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, I buy my airtime from 1620 Zone and sell our own ads, so it's my business. And when you have somebody that can show up and they meet the ferocity that you're trying to represent your brand with, and it's not theirs, it means everything.
Yeah. Drake says Jimmy's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that dude sucks. Drake.
did he spell it Jimmy? Yeah, he did.
Did he really?
No.
I was like, is he really good?
Different Jimmy.
I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah, that Jimmy does suck.
Freaking Drake.
Hey, so just to kind of,
do you guys know that story? How me and Alex even met?
No.
Okay,
we would like to.
Why am I talking about him? Anyway, okay. So Alex and I didn't know each other either. Alex showed up to a remote and introduced himself and was like, "Hey, I'd really like to get into radio at some point. I do a podcast, blah 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 blah." And it just happened to be with Zach Santee, who I've been friends with for 20 years. So I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was one of those things that just kind of happened organically, and I knew that he had worked at the Evil Empire downtown.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I had this opportunity to open up where I got the chance to do the post game. I was like, it was supposed to be me by myself. Has anybody in here ever done 2 hours by themselves?
No.
It is awful. And it does.
Jared has done multiple podcasts just of himself reacting to football and baseball games.
Yeah. It's the roller coaster.
Hey, yeah, and it sucks.
So I just text Alex and I was like, hey man, I got this opportunity. It's not going to pay a whole lot, but he, win where, and just answered the bell, and we've just kind of created this partnership that has gone a long way, and I appreciate him for doing that as well.
All over the country.
That is the only thing I'll ever say nice about him.
Well, he's known Drake for his whole your whole life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
I know. It's okay.
Yeah. Alex is
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I guess to wrap up the Adrian thing, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, we went
no, it's okay.
No, that's okay.
Because I'm gonna jump to Creighton in a second.
We don't have to.
No, I want to.
Okay,
for this one.
Yeah.
Hats off to Adrian Martinez. I mean,
absolutely.
Just we've talked about.
I was supposed to wear a hat.
I didn't even take mine off.
Yeah.
Rub your bald head.
There we go.
We've talked about the trials and tribulations. Even though he had his struggles, in the fourth quarter, it's like, oh boy, what's going to happen?
Sure.
Something not good probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But given all that, was not dealt the greatest hand and handled it with grace for every single year he was here.
Yeah, I mean, like we had a comment in here, and it was basically, it just says, it's from Josh, and he says, Adrian is the badass that Nebraska abused and us as fans abused when we didn't realize that he wasn't the problem. Sorry, Adrian.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, like,
listen, and I want to. That is 100% true, but it was so hard to see that in the moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
right?
Well,
I mean,
you're the starting quarterback. It's easy you're the big target. You're the target on your back. You know.
Well, and I think he had so much that he was expected of him, not even on the field, but off the field as well, and kind of like self-inflicted by the way he handled himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just so mature at 18 years old and walked in and kind of felt like he had to do so much that it translated to the field where he's like, I have to will this team to victory, and sometimes to a detriment. Self-admittedly, he's said that.
yeah. And I mean, I just think, like, looking back on it, even before his success was like announced in the UFL, like we're sitting around here and we're like,
damn,
man, like it's good to have Adrian Martinez be like a representative of Nebraska. Like even now, you know,
Even
like
after leaving and go to Kansas State.
Exactly. Even after he left, everybody was still like, you know what? Good for him. Like, hope he does well. Like there was no ill will towards Adrian Martinez after he had left the building. And I think like it's just cool to see.
Even when he was in Manhattan, he still had his roots down here. Like his fiance is from Papillion. He's talked about wanting to come back here. He could have went to K-State to work in the athletic department as well. He wanted to come work for Trev and wanted to be a part of Nebraska. So, I mean, yeah, it cracks me up every time I see somebody on Twitter. Didn't he go to Kansas State? Like he loved it. And Chris Kleiman is just such a dude. Like he
don't get Jared started on that.
Great coach.
When Frost got hired, that's who I wanted the first call to be to. I honestly did, because I have that high level of respect for Chris Kleiman, and I'm over the moon with who we got with Matt Rule. But I don't think you can put a value on the time that Adrian had in Manhattan and just being under the tutelage of that head coach in that situation.
Yeah. One might say you go from one guy to the next. I think he made an upgrade.
Yeah, a little night and day, I would say.
I will tell you this though, and listen, you're never going to find a Scott Frost apologist in me, but the guy could scheme up an offense. Like it's say what you want, and listen, the proof is in the pudding for a head coach. But you're talking about designing. Like you can't look at the way the Nebraska run game fell apart after he departed and say, well, he wasn't doing anything. Now, was he the best manager of the situation? I think you could probably make your judgments about that. And you're probably correct. But I mean, he obviously was effective in some of the things that he was doing.
Anyway, Creighton.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we
The
go.
two things Nebraska
I'd rather talk about
the two things Nebraska fans hate the most: Creighton and Scott Frost.
Well, we refer to him as former head coach Scott.
Okay,
There you go.
no, excuse me.
Yes, we are.
I was told we could cuss.
Yeah.
Scott fuck. There's that saying, if you can't beat them, join them.
Okay.
But that has changed today to, if you can beat them, help them. Because a Creighton baseball player has announced that he's going to transfer to play for Coach Will Bolt.
Sure.
And it's just one of those things. Hogan Haligso.
I didn't know the name. I was going to throw it out there.
Yeah, I just
I think there's gonna be more to come on that too. I think
Yeah.
there's gonna be more.
there's some
More helpers coming from Creighton.
But
There's
hold
been
on.
an exodus in that baseball program.
You've got to look at the lay of the land.
yeah. Oh, it's a mess right now.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, you got
There's a lot of
stepping down,
changes
and
coming.
they didn't promote the guy they wanted, and the players are like,
I think
okay.
they're going to be really happy with the guy they got, though.
with the guy they just announced today.
Yeah.
They might keep him around.
There's going to be a lot of change to that program this year and going forward, and it's going to be in a really good place. But
just
not what we're here to talk
and,
about.
and I hope you're wrong. I hope it's in a terrible place.
I think all of us in
I
this
hope you're-
room would agree with that.
I just hope you're wrong.
Here's the thing.
Is that okay? Is that all right?
Nobody wants to admit this, but the baseball around here will be better if they're both better teams.
Listen, I get it, because there's that argument about basketball too. Like, I just want both teams to be good because look, we live in the state of Nebraska. We need as much good things as possible,
So-
right? And I get that. I'm sympathetic to that argument.
You alluded to. I host the Creighton men's basketball post game, and I'll tell you what. So we had to do me and Drake had to do the show from DJ's dugout, right across from the Chai.
Yeah.
After Nebraska beat Creighton last year, 2 years ago.
When Derek Walker put on some.
Yeah,
but that was 2 years ago.
But I'll tell you this. I was sitting there, and it may have been right across the street from the Tribe, but it was about a 95% Nebraska crowd inside the bar. And we're sitting there with a Blue Jay backdrop, and we're, I mean, just
you got your Billy the Blue Jay hat on,
trying to do radio with people just screaming at us the entire time.
Did they serve red wine at the bar?
They did, and they actually
that's surprising that Creighton fans didn't show up.
They were selling a ton of it, actually.
Yeah. Just a bunch of people heckling you with that red ring around their lips.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I will say, like,
Drake had to throw a homeless guy out. It was a weird man. It was he only had one arm.
Oh,
he picked on a one-armed man. Jesus,
typical
right?
Drake.
Yeah,
I will say,
scumbag.
I don't disagree with your point that having Nebraska and Creighton better
because you need that rivalry game to mean.
Well, and the RPI helps. That helps the RPI if Creighton's halfway decent at baseball.
This year,
the only thing I would ask, like, I'm fine with both teams getting better, but can Nebraska stop losing to Creighton? Because I'm over it.
Yeah,
I'm over
in what?
Baseball. Well, baseball first and foremost. Basketball, I know I'm asking for a lot.
I hate this guy.
I know I'm asking for a lot on basketball.
So I get asked this a lot because there's the JaySkers moniker out there and whatever, and people are like, how can you root for both teams? And I'll tell you how. You can be a really poor South Omaha kid that had lived 10 minutes away from the Civic Auditorium and not have the ability to make it down to Lincoln too often. So you just kind of grow an affinity for the local team. And then I didn't go to my first Nebraska football game until 2004. We played Baylor. Wow. It was one of the few games we won, by the way. Thank God for that.
Joe Dale.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, that was a
Bill Callahan
square peg round hole at quarterback.
Well, anyway.
it led us to get Zach Taylor, so I don't know if anybody can really complain about it.
No. I just that the Creighton player transferring, I just love it because they have Nebraska. Ed Service is Will Bolt's dad. He's his dad. He has owned Will Bolt.
I was going to say
for a long time.
Service's son. That's definitely not Will Bolt. I didn't know where you were going.
Not literally.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
No, Ed Service is Will Bolt's daddy, and that's okay.
Daddy, yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I just love it.
I totally disagree, though.
How can you?
Because
this is from a Nebraska fan, by the way.
It's not like their only struggles were with Creighton. It was the entire midweek game of the entire season. It has nothing to do with the team that was across from. The problems with that program are all internal, and they're not really problems. They're things that they're still figuring out a couple of years into the Rob Childress situation. And listen, Lance Harville is a dude. Their third base coach and recruiting coordinator.
Sure,
it's one of my favorite people on this planet and can coach baseball. They've just got to figure out how you make that dynamic in the dugout as well as the bullpen get from point A to point B, and they're going to be fine.
I think they'll be fine, but
I think they're going to be really good next year.
I just got to disagree about Ed Service being Will Bolt's daddy, because it'd be one thing if it was just this year.
Show right now,
yeah, daddy.
But I'm just going to further.
It was Father's Day. Do you think he sent him a card?
That's great. Stop beating me.
No, it probably said something like "Great job in the Big East tournament."
Oh wait,
it wasn't.
No, but this is just going to further fortify my point, because it was more than just this year.
True,
like it's been over the course of 4 or 5 years. So saying all of that, I just love how Creighton baseball fans, they like to troll us and all that shit, and it's
they have even 4 fans.
What's that?
They have like 4 fans.
Yeah, all 4 of them are in our Menchies.
You're a Nebraska football fan, a Creighton basketball fan, a Nebraska baseball fan, a Nebraska volleyball fan. No, fuck Creighton women's volleyball, right? Fuck Creighton women's basketball.
Fuck Kirsten Bernthal Booth.
Why? Because they don't make sense. Like I went to the.
Oh, okay. I thought this was your stance.
No.
Coach Booth is a great person.
I thought you were saying this.
No, the JaySkers. The logic is weird because it's like, for instance, I was at the Creighton Nebraska game in Lincoln this year.
Sure.
That game sucked. I'm sitting next to this really, really annoying Creighton fan.
Sure.
She was in my ear this whole time, and I'm like sitting there with my wife.
Really?
Yeah, and she's like, scoreboard. I'm like, dude, it's a home game. I'm rooting for my team. I go to all the games.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Boo them?
Yeah, like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, at the end of the game, she turns to me and she goes, don't worry, I'll root for Nebraska volleyball later. I was like, so you don't root for Creighton volleyball?
Yeah, that's weird.
It doesn't make sense.
See,
if you're a Creighton person, what do you root for? You have to root for everything Creighton and then Nebraska football?
So that's what I don't understand about, like, this is why people hating JaySkers makes sense to me, because, like, I have never booed Nebraska basketball. I've never booed Nebraska volleyball. And obviously, and people that talk crap to me and Connor Happer and Ravi Lula and whoever, like,
Ravi deserves it.
don't wait for an argument. Don't wait for an argument. But it's like it. Even like if I was from Minnesota, like would you care that I was rooting for both teams? Like that's where it doesn't make sense. For what we do for a living, it is better for all of us if
the
both
content's
teams
way
are
better.
winning. Yeah, look, nobody talked about football in the state post December for a reason. Like the basketball was so good across the board, you didn't have to. And when you have to fill as much content as we do
daily,
like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred Hoiberg. Thank you so much. I know you're a big fan. You're probably watching, but it was just like one of those things. Like, no, we don't have to talk about who the 6th string left tackle is right now because we're never going to find out. Nobody cares.
Justin Evans Jenkins.
and there's actually like championship level athletics that are happening that people care about that we can talk about in March, and it was incredible to do.
And we just talked about that with baseball. Like, going
absolutely.
into like June, we're all begging for some sort of like winning to be happening. So we're all talking about, it's usually talking about Nebraska for 4 straight months, and there was nothing going on.
There was a conversation about Nebraska hosting a regional and Creighton making the tournament, and everybody loved it.
Yep.
And it was one of those things because what do we love more than winning in sports? Hating somebody else, right? So if your crosstown rivals is having success, you can hate watch it and you could talk about it. And it's water cooler filter. And then if they just suck, it's like, okay, well they suck. It doesn't matter. And then let's just talk about why Emmett Johnson's going to be the starting running back for an hour today instead.
No, so like
which I'm fine with, but
when Creighton fans like I was,
how many people think have turned this off because so many times we've seen Creighton?
No, I think it's fine. It's a good conversation because I just don't like when JaySkers pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. You got to be Creighton, be blue the entire time until football. Then okay, I get it,
and I would be okay with that.
I'd be fine with
it. Yeah, the trash talking, if you're like when you have like a Nebraska shirt under your Creighton sweater, doesn't make much sense to me. Which is essentially what you're doing in that case. Yeah.
I love the Creighton fans saying Blue State, Blue State. And then one of their players comes over here when they get the chance. It's like, I don't know. Just something to think about.
It's called twisting the fork.
Hey, they wanted to see what postseason baseball felt like. So they
there it is.
Stop that.
All right. We are at 32 minutes. And our friend Josh says, I'm just joshing around. Out of curiosity, what do you think Nebraska's offense will look like this year? There, I fixed it. We don't have to talk about Creighton anymore. So we can start with that when we come back.
Take a quick break.
Thank you, Method Man, and thank you, Troy Walters. You, Jimmie Allen.
Jimmie Allen.
Got a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
You've been running around town. You've been on the airwaves. You've been causing trouble.
Okay. Is this a Mike Trout conversation?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
This is a Nebraska football conversation.
Okay.
10-2.
10-2.
I got a problem with this.
So does Kyle.
Mike?
Kyle doesn't like it either.
Oh,
He's
nothing
pissed.
spilled. It wasn't mine.
And yes, he pulled a Mike Delaware off camera.
No, it didn't spill.
But it's okay. The camera's still on me. It's not on him. We're okay.
Kyle Byers is dead, everybody. RP.
RIP to our producer.
That explains
Kyle
why.
Myers. I just plugged that in too.
Hey, even though you're talking, the camera's not going to be on you because he can't switch it over.
Doesn't matter. You're going to
That's
hear
okay.
it. You're going to hear it no matter what.
For the podcast listeners, right?
I can hear you, and that's all that matters.
Yes. Thank you.
10-2, Jimmie Allen.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Just, we can get into why we disagree, but
Sure.
why
Please do.
are you feeling double-digit wins,
So
near playoff appearance, I might add?
Dude, at 10-2, you're probably playoff appearance.
absolutely.
In
I
a
don't
12
think it's
team
debatable.
yeah.
And-
But I think it matters what happens in the championship game, because at that point you'd probably be playing for a Big Ten championship.
Either way,
But
lofty.
I think context is important. This is something I deal with a lot when people are like, you said this. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to listen to the whole segment. And if you just turn on your radio and you hear it, I can't fault you for that. But I said, you could paint me the picture of how this team gets to 10-2. I did not say they were going 10-2. You could show me how they get there, though. And I'll tell you this, it's shout out to Keith, man. For the first time, I got credentials to get down to spring practice this year. And Keith and his team down in Lincoln are second in
SID?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great guy, by the way. I don't know if you guys have had the chance to work with him. He'd be great to be on the show too, by the way. Just incredible. But
Paint me the picture.
yeah, I got to go down to spring practice this year, and the limited stuff we got to see, it doesn't even look like the same group of guys. I know there's a lot of changes, and there's clearly a big difference at quarterback. But the way the offense, like the thing I took away from the spring game wasn't the throws downfield. It wasn't the touchdowns. It wasn't that. It was the communication you saw from the offensive line. And that is where, like, talk about talent and skill all you want. That is where that department and that group has struggled the most, is being able to be on the same page and communicate fluently with their quarterback. Now, when you have a quarterback last year who was literally not even going to meetings in quarterback rooms a year ago prior to that, it's understandable how that could happen. But the one thing that you're going to see from a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterbacks coach standpoint is the fingerprints that on this offense that look like a professional style offense. When you talk about all three quarterbacks being able to signal flip coverage and have communication within their offensive line where everybody is on the same page, that's what you're going to have this season. And if you just look at what you had a year ago, and let's say for argument's sake, that defense takes a little bit of a step back. You have the 3-3-5 on film now. People are going to be a little less caught off guard by it. I don't think that's going to happen, but I can understand how it could. Again, you can paint a picture that gets me there. If you just throw that implementation in there where you're not having under pressure as much, you don't have the Ben Scott situation where he gets blown up against Wisconsin. There's that play that basically the whole game falls apart at that point, right? If you take just that away, you're talking about 2 or 3 more wins out of that. Now, you insert a 5-star quarterback into the situation and 2 guys in Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nayor that are legit D1, number 1 type wide receivers into the equation. That offense looks incredibly different. The running back room, though, has been like the biggest head scratcher for me, because all of the coaches have kind of openly talked about how that room has struggled a little bit, right? And from everything I saw, including the spring game, it looked okay. I mean, it definitely didn't look bad at any point.
Emmett Johnson.
I was expecting it to kind of be doom and gloom at certain situations, and the more I saw, and I think it's just they want more out of that room because the quarterback run element is going to be gone. Like, I know people are like, "Well, Dylan Rowe is going to be able to scramble and make plays." It's like they do not want him to do. They do not want him to do that.
Yeah, that is like last case scenario. Like,
Heinrich Harburg is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life, and I want him to have all the success in the world. But Dylan Raiola is your starter day one. And
UTEP, snap one, UTEP, Dylan Raiola.
Yes, without question.
Without question. Why? I just want. Hey, I'm just putting it out there.
And
making sure.
And here's why. Because it's more about what coaches don't say than what they do say. Right? You don't invite the talent level that you've had at the spring game and last weekend to Lincoln and have Dylan Raiola be the showcase of those events by accident.
If he's not the starting quarterback.
It's not by happenstance that happens. And it's not like he's a 3-star kid from Idaho who's just really talented and they were really happy to get and they think he's a good fit. No, this is one of the premier talents in the country that you put all of your recruiting efforts in to get here. You're not bringing him in to sit game one. You're just not. All bearing an injury.
So I'm no artist. Sure. And I cannot paint any pictures for you.
Okay.
Well, and
So
you're
I'm-
colorblind. so-
I am colorblind too.
So even if you did paint a picture,
Few people know
Probably
that.
look like crap.
I don't mention that daily or anything.
Sure.
But if you would,
It's a black shirt.
if you would help me paint this picture of 10-2.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the obvious, which I think we could all agree is
The
Ohio
schedule.
State.
Yeah. Okay. And USC. I think those are the two.
Those are the two.
Those are the two.
Okay.
And here's the problem. I think Rutgers is going to be a lot better than people think they're going to this year. Greg Schiano has kind of turned a corner. They've got a quarterback that can play at the Big Ten level. Their offensive defensive line are taking a big step forward. I think maybe not Iowa. Illinois takes a big step back. I don't think they have any idea what they're doing in Madison. I really don't. I think they're kind of trying to build that plan. I think they're going to be fine. The state that they're in right now, I think looks probably a lot like Nebraska 2 years ago. And I think they're trying to build the plane while they're flying it. And when you have kind of a polished product like you have in Lincoln right now, and I think it's going to look polished. I really do. I think it's going to look completely different than what you saw a year ago. It's really hard to paint that as a loss for me. Now, if you look at, and I know people are like, there was obviously the stuff with Lincoln Riley trying to get out of the LSU game and all that. And nobody knows what USC is going to be. They still got Lincoln Riley and they're going to be fine, by the way.
if you go down the roster, we said this about Florida baseball versus Nebraska baseball. Nebraska's the higher seed, but you go down the roster.
How that Florida team ended up in that situation makes no sense, by the way.
The
baseball.
USC thing is interesting just because their defense couldn't cover a cough last year. And I know they got a new
defensive
DC,
coordinator who had a top 15 defense last year.
It's just like how fast can that translate to the Big Ten nonetheless?
There's this team that plays football down in Lincoln that did the same thing.
Yeah,
a year ago. This guy named Troy, Tony White's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just remember there was an adjustment period.
Sure.
For some of these teams that come to the Big Ten, the physicality is a little different.
Yeah, and I think
the style of play is a little different.
I think UCLA and Washington are going to struggle with that mightily. I think USC is going to have enough. I think there's going to be a struggle there, but the fact that it's out in LA, that matters a lot to me. But I think Iowa's offense is going to be the exact same.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Sure.
And if Nebraska just scores one more touchdown,
a field goal.
Yeah, right. I'm looking for insurance. I'm looking.
I'll take
looking for a
insurance,
guarantee. I just think that I think it's going to be a down year for the Big Ten. It wouldn't surprise me if Oregon came in and was battle tested, ready day one. But I think they're the only team that's equipped to do that. USC probably still wins 8 or 9 games.
I think out of the 4 additions that are coming in, I do think Oregon is the most equipped to adjust quickly.
It's not even
for
close.
me, it's because of Dan Lanning. I think Dan Lanning's the dude.
An absolute great coach.
Yeah.
Dude could have gone to Alabama.
Having Dylan Gabriel helps too. He's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be your front runner for the Heisman.
Going back to the 10-2 discussion. And I know you said, you're going to paint me a picture like
look at the
Michelangelo or Da Vinci.
Look at the way that schedule lines up. I mean, obviously UTEP isn't a world beater. I think that's all we need to say as far as that goes.
Sure.
You could convince me Colorado is going to be worse than they were a year ago. I think that whole situation is a nightmare and a disaster and is only going to get worse. Northern Iowa plays football.
At the FCS level. Yes, they do.
I am not going to talk down on Northern Iowa.
Shout out to Troy Dannon.
That's right.
The last 7 years have showed us you never ever overlook any team.
Georgia Southern.
Hey, I have nightmares about.
I remember
somebody in this room said live on the air that they were going to lose that game leading up to it. By the way, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, was it Kyle?
No, it's probably Jimmy.
Probably agreed with me. Kyle's smart.
Yeah, I'm sure Lloyd Carr back in 2007 was like, Appalachia, who?
Where are they?
Anyway. Yeah. No, okay, but you're going down the schedule a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So look at those first 7 games and find me a loss. Maybe it's Rutgers, but I mean, I don't know. Indiana's probably good. Indiana's upgraded at head coach, and I think it's going to take them a little while to get there.
Right.
But in those first 7 games, it's hard for me to find a loss. And if you look at the back end, I just told you about Wisconsin and Iowa and what I think about those situations.
Sure.
That gets you to 9. Now, if you could find a win in those other 3 games, there's your painted picture.
So I just think Nebraska football is such an anomaly in that you could literally watch every game that they've lost and go, if only they did this. But yet we do that every loss, every year. If only, if only, if only. And so I
think you can only have that mindset if you're expecting it to look like it has.
Right. If you just look in the past, and
I don't think it's going to even look close to the same program that you've seen for the last 10 years.
And yeah, I mean, there's really no argument. There's really no argument I can have from that standpoint.
They're doing everything different. And I'm talking from a strength and conditioning program situation to the way they eat, the way they're scheduling, the way they eat, the way they run the training table, when they make practice available to people, the facilities they have now, the attention to detail that they're putting into the mental stage of the game, from having a team therapist that's available basically on call to everything is detail oriented. And the one thing you could point at, you could talk about all the one score losses you want. Everything is because of a lack of attention to detail. And that is the one thing who head coach self-admittedly struggled with a year ago, that is putting all things in place to make sure that's not the case going forward.
Does special teams worry you though?
That's my biggest worry.
You got the
people talk about, obviously it was funny to watch the kicker wearing the same color jersey tackle the guy housing a kick, but when you look at
Jacory,
yeah, when you look at the way Jacory Barney, and maybe he's just that guy, and he could be, but my biggest takeaway in a negative connotation from the spring game was, man, there were some really wide open lanes and guys not running down discipline in their gaps on kickoff returns. And that was a big question for me. Tristan Alvano has been working. His grandfather actually butt dialed me outside when I walked in. That's kind of a weird thing. But I called him back. Mike's fine. He's okay. He's been working with the Brown brothers in the offseason to kind of change his approach to kicking. It's going to be interesting to see how that kind of comes into fruition and what it looks like and if it's any different. But I think it's important to remember the kid was only a sophomore a year ago, and I know nobody wants to hear those excuses.
He's a true freshman.
Sorry. He's going to be a sophomore this year.
Yeah,
and it was his first time attempting kicks at that level. And yes, he had done in the stadium, and I know he's won a state championship and all that. It is completely different.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing for a state championship, you're not kicking in front of 90,000.
No.
You're kicking.
Granted, there was like 15,000, but
okay,
it's not quite 90. Yes,
yeah, exactly. It's a much different environment, and especially even if, and like maybe I'm oversimplifying, even if that stadium is full with 90, you're still not playing for the University of Nebraska. And I feel like wearing that red, putting that N on your helmet carries so much more weight.
Well, I think about like line of sight when you're lining up a kick too, when you're doing it in warmups versus with 90,000 people who are all supposed to be wearing red. Right. And how much different that looks in your approach and how much that would change. Like, I mean, I to like dumb it down, like I think about like throwing bags in cornhole. It'd be a little weird to do it in like an all red background, and that's obviously completely different, but it's the only thing I compare it to. I've never kicked in front of 90,000 people.
Yeah. It just worries me a little bit that even the home games, when everybody's rooting for you, you're still not making them. And you're making the ones that you're not supposed to make, but you're missing the ones that you should make.
Honestly, I think that's what you should take away, is the fact that he's making those. If you can get the hard stuff out of the way, the rudimentary stuff should eventually just fall into place.
Yeah, that's an easier problem to fix.
I said should.
Yes. I don't know how many times I have to explain. Kicking a 25-yarder is harder than kicking a 55-yarder.
I agree with that sentiment.
Well, nobody's expecting you to make the 55.
I've only said this 5 times on the freaking pod.
Yeah, play with house money. I agree.
There's a reason why Tristan Alvano goes out there against Purdue and makes a 50+ yarder, because he trots out there and we're going, oh shit, they're kicking a field goal. Why? Why are you kicking? He shouldn't be kicking. He's not going to make it. Oh man, they're putting this kid in a shitty spot.
Yeah,
that's what we're thinking. And so Tristan's like,
well, Matt Rule's worth every penny once he makes it.
Yeah, I'm taking my shirt off immediately.
And that's kind of another thing too. Is Matt Rule? He, not since Tom Osborne have we had a coach that gave a shit about every single aspect of being a head coach.
Agreed.
Even Bo Pelini, with his 9 wins, there were aspects of coaching that he did not like and did not embrace, and probably
self-admittedly.
You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I'm saying it, because I know he's kind of talked about that. However, on game days, I don't think that's something that you get better at, especially if you coach as many games as Matt Rule has. I think during the game, it can be puzzling. And so what Matt Rule needs to do is just get talented players like Dylan Raiola to make up for things like this.
I think video games in a sense have kind of ruined this aspect.
I haven't played a video
Hold
game
on.
in 10
But
years.
The fact that you can turn on a PlayStation and be like, "Oh, I could take Akron to the Sugar Bowl in 5 minutes," means that
You
the head
can
coach
soon.
Yeah,
In
you can,
July, you
right.
could do that.
You could, but I think that aspect has ruined the human element of coaching. And I know people. And again, this is going to be me bailing out Scott Frost again. I promised I wouldn't do that, but like I don't know how often the fact that he lost his father before he started coaching in
It's a big
Nebraska
deal.
doesn't get brought up, and I think it should. And I don't know how I would have rebounded for that. And I'm not trying to say that's the only reason he failed or was the only reason he had ailments, but like Matt Rule's entire family wasn't here last season. They're here now, and there's a little bit more of. And if you know any head coach in any sport, you know that they are creatures of habit. And you take away the habit in which you're around your family every day. You're a father, you're a husband. And then you don't have that for 9 months. It changes the way you do everything. And Matt Rule didn't have that last year. And we saw some very uncharacteristic, out of pocket, bad decision making in crunch times from the head coach a year ago. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I wondered how much him having a little more familiarity, him having a little more repetition, him having what he's used to in a day-to-day situation is going to help him on Saturdays as well.
Julie Rule maybe is the
MVP,
the secret
the secret
ingredient.
sauce.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, because and look, I fully recognize that if I was put in his position,
sure,
I would not do any better. I would suck. But I'm also not getting paid millions to figure that out.
The Jeff Sims situation didn't help either.
Well,
That did not help.
No, it did not.
The one thing that worries me a little bit.
Can we talk about that again for a second?
The Jeff
though?
Sims thing?
Yeah, because like there's so like that coaching staff got such flack for that. Look how late they were into the recruiting process when they were trying to find a quarterback, and he took a flyer on a guy that he was given a good recommendation for, and it just didn't work out. Now, if you see Dylan Raiola turning it over at a nationwide high rate, then
was it 29 total?
31, right?
31, yeah.
It's just one of those things that like it's hard to do because the sample size is so small, but you got to remember the late time frame that he came in and took this job, the late part of the recruiting cycle in which they tried getting somebody, specifically a quarterback, to lead a Power 5 school, and he came in as a recommendation about somebody they could coach up. And the fact that you thought you had your quarterback coach, he ends up staying in LA, and then you're taking a tight ends coach and asking him to coach quarterbacks for a guy that leads the nation in turnovers. It's not necessarily the greatest recipe for success.
Yes, it was just a pile of shit running downhill, and you just can't. You can stand in front of it, but you're going to get freaking drowned by shit.
I don't think you can put a value on how important it was the fact that they didn't get Jake Peets when they thought they were going to.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a quarterbacks coach in that room. And by the way, your backup was a guy that wasn't going to quarterback meetings. Yeah. I don't know if we can't put enough emphasis on that. This
You're
guy
right. There's
literally never coached to be a quarterback.
There's a lot going wrong.
This staff did make the decision to move on from Casey Thompson, though. I know he was coming off the offseason surgery and all that stuff, and I'm sure there's more to it, but I'm just saying that they did get to evaluate that situation, and they chose to go to Jeff Sims. And maybe he's the best practice quarterback ever, but
are you playing devil's advocate, Michael?
I'm just trying. I'm trying to.
You also have a coach that came out and said that we want the quarterback run game to be an emphasis on what we're trying to do here. And then you look at how many injuries Casey Thompson has had pile up.
Yeah.
And it was probably hard to go, we could probably count on this guy to do it. Now, it'd be really hard to look at the turnovers that Jeff Sims had and said, we could probably count on this guy to do it too. So it was probably picking. And I think Casey would have obviously been a better quarterback, but if he was healthy.
Yeah. You coming off the offseason surgery. And he tore his ACL anyway. So hindsight,
So I'm not going to go total conspiracy here.
Oh boy.
But
Conspiracy Connor and
4-8. Nebraska's going 4-8.
No. I'm not going record yet. We do records, I believe, 1 week before the season starts.
Okay. Yes.
But am I crazy to say that the way the quarterback room operated last year was actually in our benefit to getting Dylan Raiola?
No.
Because, the room's open.
No.
The room is open. You can come in here and take the reins day one. And Danny Kalen, I think, was another big.
Nothing changed about his recruiting, though. Like when it came out that he was going to go take that visit to East Lansing and visit Michigan State, I didn't understand why. Because he was never going to walk in here and start day one, and he knew that. And that was a conversation they had with him. And even if you add Dylan Raiola, your trajectory of when you get on the field probably doesn't change a whole lot.
No.
If Dylan Raiola is here in 4 years, something went wrong.
Sure.
Right. And that it's a lot of pressure to put on someone that's never taken a snap in college, but that's the level he was recruited at and what his expectations are. And when you talk about a guy that's also an Elite 11 quarterback that is from your neighborhood that brought 4 guys, like you don't have 3 of those guys that are in this recruiting class without Daniel Kalen. Like I don't think Carter Nelson is here without Daniel Kalen.
Oh yeah.
And obviously his 2 teammates at Bellevue West. But I just think that Carson Beck coming back to Athens didn't help or didn't hurt Nebraska's chances of getting Dylan Raiola either. And if Ohio State doesn't just have 5 stars falling out of the sky into their backyard, you probably don't get Dylan Raiola either, right? But I do think he wanted to be here. I think that's a lot of it. But his dad is such a smart businessman that they wanted to make sure that he was financially taken care of no matter where he went. And Nebraska offered a very similar package to what Georgia and Ohio State did. But it was also, how do we get him? We're not sacrificing hundreds of thousands of dollars for millions of dollars. It was, how do we get him to the NFL in the fastest way possible? And the fact that the quarterback room opened up the way it did at Nebraska was a big part of it, but also the way the quarterback room closed at those other 2 places was equally as important.
Well, and I think with Danny Kalen's visit to East Lansing, I mean, you look at Dylan coming into Nebraska,
sure,
and Danny's looking as like, I can go sit at Michigan State,
mm-hmm.
or I can work with Dylan Raiola. Again, at that time, a top, depending on where you're looking, either number 1 to number 3 quarterback,
sure,
somewhere in that range. Working with that guy, learning from him, getting better. And frankly, again, I see Dylan, if he's here 3 years, like I think that's probably it.
I agree with your thought pattern. I just think it's misdirected. I think Glenn Thomas is more of a reason for that than anything. When you look at a guy that's got NFL caliber, and I know that commitment came way before Glenn Thomas was announced, but you don't get Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen to give you a yes without knowing who their position coach is going to be. And I think he's got a lot to do with that, because make no bones about it, Daniel Kalen wants to get to the NFL as well. Yeah. And he's been very vocal about that also. And you don't do that without somebody being able to paint a picture for you about how to get there.
Yeah. Well, and if Dylan's starting as a true freshman, given the NCAA rules,
sure,
he will have to play 3 years in college.
Absolutely.
So we do get Dylan for 3 years potentially.
Hopefully.
Potentially.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what happens if we lose? Is he going to just transfer like he did in high school? That's if you look at who he is, like just listen to him talk and the way he carries himself. The fact that even happened is really surprising based off who he is, who his father is, and the respect that family commands. And I will be amazed if Dylan Raiola doesn't finish out his career at Nebraska, no matter what happens.
And I'll add on to the transferring in high school. I think the transfer to Buford in Georgia genuinely was because
he was going to Georgia.
Athens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that made sense. I mean, just logistically, I mean, he was playing in a great area for high school football. It made sense.
It'd have been a lot cooler if we could have seen him at Lincoln Southwest, though.
It would have been a lot cooler, at least for us.
I think he may have taken a star drop or 2.
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
If he was a Silverhawk?
The way he established himself at camps was more why he was a 5-star than anything he did out in Arizona, even though he had success out there, obviously, and then went down and played big boy football in Georgia and was like, nope, I am that dude. Sorry.
So
yeah, I mean, he balled out in Georgia. So
as we talk about Dylan Raiola especially, but Danny Kalen.
Yeah.
We've had this argument a number of times. Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Right, hold on.
Danny Kalen is going to get snaps this season. I'm not crazy to say that. Right? Like, I'm not saying he's starting.
Get to the point, Connor.
They do play UTEP and they do play Northern Iowa. So yeah, sure.
Do you think, like, how many games, if you had to estimate?
2.
What you think? 2 games?
Yeah, I think he will see snaps. Now, will he throw a pass? That's probably debatable. And I'm not saying that he's not, but we talked about this with Adrian earlier. Like, I've had Daniel Kalen in my studio 3 consecutive years when he was at Bellevue West, and walked in, called me sir, thanked everybody for being there. Brought his parents one time just so that like there was a family element to it. That he's going to be something in life, whether he's an NFL quarterback or a CEO. Daniel Kalen will be somebody.
Adrian-esque,
very much. Just in the way he conducts himself. He's never, and you kind of saw it in the spring. He's never going to shy away from a camera. He's never going to shy away from a big moment either, and can handle that pressure.
I thought watching him at that press conference, he won the press conference. Out of the 3 quarterbacks they had up there, 100%. He was giving the most sophisticated, like calm, collected answers out of all 3 of them.
We had him in studio when he was 15 years old, and you could have convinced me he was 24. Just the way he carried himself and just didn't struggle at all in the moment. We didn't really prep him with the questions and handled them, and they weren't having the best season at the time either. And I think a lot of that's derivative of Mike Huffman, the head coach at Bellevue West, who is, in my opinion, if not the best, the second best head coach in this state, and just gets the way that athletes should conduct themselves off the field too. And that's a big emphasis in that program. Man, it showed. And Davon Hall was with him all 3 times, and was another kid where it was like, okay, these guys are ready to be big time athletes.
It's similar to like what you look at Nebraska. All the coaches, no matter who you talk to, they all have the same language.
Kind of echo that guy at the top.
The exact same thing. And it seems like if that's happening at the high school level, it should translate pretty well.
When was the last time that happened here?
I don't know.
1997,
maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, they were good in 2001 and 03.
I know you're saying that tongue in cheek, but I mean, there was even some like, where does the buck stop with Frank? Because Frank wanted to be a football coach, not a CEO. And it's really hard to know what that looks like when the same guy's been in that position for 30 years and you've just always had him there. And like, there's obviously some other stuff with Frank, and it's just one of those things that he's been. He wasn't successful at Ohio by accident. Like he wasn't ready for the shoes that he had to fill in Lincoln.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of ping ponging.
Yeah, we're all over.
But
yeah,
that's okay.
No. So like,
Standard.
I love it.
Like, do I think Nebraska is going to go 10-2? No. But
which is also what I said. I just said you could paint me a picture
right.
how you get it.
I'm just going to state right now.
Sure.
I don't think they will. They won't.
Okay.
But I will throw you a bone here. You're welcome. Yeah, throw the bone. You talk about, very talented quarterback. Should be improved offensive line. The defense should be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
All those points I grant you.
Good.
Yes, all those points I grant you. And we could even add something like the element of why not us?
Sure.
Because look,
they are due.
You watch programs all the time, and it's like they have 10 wins. How the hell did they do that?
Iowa.
Why can't we do that? No, I'm not even saying that.
James Franklin won 10 games at Vanderbilt. People forget.
That's what I'm not even saying Iowa, because at least with Iowa, there's like there's a fucking blueprint, and yes,
Iowa's always a close game. You know who I want the most? And like, I'm gonna leave Iowa or Ohio State out of this. I want Wisconsin.
That's the right answer.
I want Wisconsin.
That is the right answer.
So bad.
We put up a poll on the show the other night asking who people would rather beat. It was overwhelmingly Iowa. And I said, why?
What's it been? 9
We haven't
years
beat them since
for Wisconsin?
2012.
They've literally beaten Wisconsin once, and it was the first time.
And they beat us the same year that we
then they
beat
won
them.
the Big Ten championship.
Yes.
game. Yeah. Like
I want Wisconsin.
It should overwhelmingly be Wisconsin. I know that Iowa's had more recent success in the last 2 years.
And they're louder. They're a louder fan base than Wisconsin.
Have you ever been to Madison?
Yeah,
I totally disagree.
He's
with
saying
that
like
statement.
social media. He's not talking.
No, I'm talking like yeah.
He's not saying Camp Randall versus
no.
Kinnick.
I mean that more from like they're standing in front of you standpoint. I think that's Wisconsin.
Everybody says that about Madison though, but when we went, we had a good time.
Oh, dude, Scotties are so fun.
I watched
the fans were good.
watched an old lady hit somebody with their walker and say "Move, bitch" to this guy wearing a Nebraska shirt.
Did you get a
college
business card?
football, baby?
I want to meet that woman.
Yeah,
she was cool.
She was getting after it a little bit.
Madison's kind of weird because it's like a wannabe Lincoln, and they have like "Go Big Red" signs, and
It's very strange.
This is
weird. So, and this is why I looked at the camera earlier and said that everybody in that stadium should be wearing red, because when you call for a blackout, it makes and I'm so glad we can cuss on this, fucking sense to change the color to something to color out the stadium. You color out the stadium every Saturday. Put your stupid gray polo in the closet. Don't wear a black polo. It's the sea of red for a reason. Make a decision when you get up in the morning and buy your ticket to wear the right color of the game.
2014 Miami says what?
Dude, we have so many red shirts on our website. If you need a red shirt, we got you.
2014 Miami says what?
You wear red to the game. You wear
the most hostile environment I can remember. And
that was fun.
Like
blackout. Just saying. And they won too.
Nobody wore black though. Nobody.
They had the big mirror, the big flag with
the "Welcome to your worst nightmare."
That
was cool.
This guy
was in that.
This guy walked into I think it was the 2016 Wisconsin game wearing a black shirt that said, "Don't let other fan bases dictate what color you wear," and it was a Wisconsin shirt. And you shouldn't. You should listen. It is one of the most intimidating scenes in all of college football. Walking in there and seeing that place completely redded out. Why would you change that for any reason? It makes no sense.
I mean, it's definitely second to the whiteout in Penn State. And guess what? They don't freaking wear their colors. But the stadium helps because they have all the things on the flags and everything else. They make sure their stadium's all white.
Yeah, also white's one of their main colors.
I think
so is red.
I think if you could get the university to back it real hard, one game a year, BA saying blackout
red
once
trash
a year.
bags, baby. We did in high school.
It's never going to work though, because you have those diehard fans that are like, no, because this is the correct sentiment. Is no, I turn on my TV every Saturday, and it doesn't matter if it's Joe Klatt or whoever the announcer is, says, "Welcome to the Sea of Red," and they show this giant pan out, and you've watched this this is one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm sorry.
Get it.
You've watched this every Saturday for your entire life, and you claim to be a college football fan, and you open up your closet, you have your ticket in your hand, and you go, "Yeah, I'm going to wear the black polo today." I don't understand how you get from that point to that point and make that decision.
Here's the one reason that we don't wear red in Memorial Stadium. When it's colder than fuck, I'm sorry, I don't have a red Husker jacket.
And and that's the only only thing I will say.
Nice Columbia Husker jacket.
That is the only
time I don't wear red in the stadium.
Buy one.
It's underneath my.
Hey, you know what you tell them? To buy a red Columbia, bitch.
Yeah, they don't have them.
Figure it out. Make one.
If I have your ticket and you're not wearing a red shirt, I will you can ask my sister this. I made her stop at Husker Hounds and buy a shirt on the way out of Omaha one time.
Here's certified JaySkers, but real like over the top Husker fan now.
Here's what I need you to do, Jimmie Allen.
Can I tell a real quick story? What was it? 18 when game day was here for Ohio State.
19
when
they got destroyed by.
It was 19. Yeah, you're right, because it was the year before the pandemic. We start running the triple option. You guys remember this? Adrian's running the triple option.
Yeah, that first try. Anyway,
this guy stands up and starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "I told you we need to bring back the option. It's gonna fix everything. Scott Frost knows what he's doing."
Was it me?
And he's wearing a gray polo. Oh, and I just went, "Dude, shut up and sit down. You don't even know what color shirt to wear to the game." That was the last time I've been to a Nebraska football game, and I can't do it.
That's offensive to my people.
I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I just I understand that there's 90,000 head coaches in the stand. Everybody thinks they know what they're talking about, but if you can't even decide what color shirt to wear, that literally 90,000 people are showing you what color it's supposed to be. I can't help you. Can't help you get there.
It's trademarked.
I want to jump on your point. How many times you turn on a broadcast and they say, "Welcome to the Sea of Gray"?
Zero. None. Zero.
Well, for you, every time.
They still say red.
And the thing that irritates me more than anything is when people are like, "I'm wearing black to support the defense." It's like, dude, they can't see you. You are one shirt. More importantly, probably
more intimidating if you're wearing red. It really is.
Yeah. Also, they're wearing red. I don't know if you've noticed.
The defense doesn't get to wear black.
It's also okay to cheer for the offense.
Although I will say, bring back the black jerseys.
Which,
bring them back.
Alternates need to happen more often.
Good alternates.
There's been 2 good ones. That's been the problem.
The alternates
#
last year still get my blood pressure up so much.
It's fine.
Could anyone, unless you zoomed in on the TV broadcast, could you see that they were alternates? No, you couldn't.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I don't understand in today's day and age where name, image, and likeness is everything, why you would try to not have your brand be recognized when somebody turns on the TV. That's that just doesn't make any sense to me.
You should put, I'm a huge guy on this. Put your logo everywhere. People got to know what the logo is when they see it.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
Probably more logos than you want coming to a field near you.
We're talking about artists and painting pictures. Right, I'm going to paint a picture for you. We go to Memorial Stadium. We're going to have red trash bags. And when little Shirley comes by, who's been a season ticket holder since 1935, Gertrude, we're going to say, "Listen here, Shirley."
She'll tell you about it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Bagger. Everybody that walks by.
That's what's on the trash bag. That's what's on the trash bag.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
We got a bagger.
This coming from problematic at all.
Coming from a teacher of high school students.
Red bags.
Bagger has a completely different meaning now, Mike. So we got to pick something else.
We are going to put a trash bag.
See, I was worried about coming on this podcast. We got 45 minutes. It's fine. Then just this happens.
We have a red trash bag on Shirley.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
She's wearing red now.
You had mentioned your pet peeve.
Yeah.
With fans just wearing
He's like,
Not
"My pet peeve
red.
is idiots that sit on the radio saying they're going 10-2.
Anyway,
Yeah. I got it.
no. I was just trying to think of what game I was watching. I think it was 93
Pacific?
Oklahoma.
That was 94, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oklahoma. Oklahoma comes to Memorial Stadium in 93. And I can't tell you how many like close-ups of fans there were. Like the camera just kind of panning
wearing
across. Just fans wearing random ass orange, blue. And the environment was crazy. It was raining. it was a cold, rainy, but
Okay, were they
but
wearing
the atmosphere was
ponchos,
crazy. They might have been wearing ponchos.
Don't tempt me with a good
Hey,
time.
93, you could say that. So yes,
Very
they
nice.
got bagged. But yeah, I'm just watching that and I'm like, oh, Jimmie Allen would be really pissed right now.
He would be. Jimmie Allen's turning over his grave. He's not even dead yet.
Boom! Bagger.
Great success.
There it is.
A bagger. I'm a bagger. Big bagger.
Okay. So Jared, what's your pet peeve as far as fans go?
Jesus, they're springing it on me. Well, honestly, that is one of my big ones.
Thank you.
But of course,
That was a
dude,
good
I mean,
take.
how do you not?
Oh boy.
I mean, look, you
Is
got
it
the Irish song that people like.
That's the
clapping off beat.
That's good. That's a good point.
Clapping.
There's a lot of white people in Memorial Stadium.
And look, I get it. No. And here's the thing too. I'm granting some grace here because the sound system, things bounce off
That's
the glass,
a good point. That's
and
a
I
good
get
point.
it. But when I'm in a mood, when I'm in a groove and I'm on rhythm, I got the dingus next to me. I'm like, fuck, you're throwing me off.
Here's the other
Wait,
thing
am I wrong?
Here's the other
Shit.
thing you could do. Watch this real quick. You could just look at the person next to your hands and then just get on beat with that person.
Yeah, see, that's the worst part is that you are on rhythm, but the person next to you isn't. So now you're like,
now you got to be off rhythm too.
Yeah, you have to question yourself.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I feel like I'm right. Like I listen. I'm really white, but I got rhythm.
Hashtag Team Ginger.
Listen, I got rhythm.
That is.
So if
you got
I'm,
soul, but you're not a soldier.
I got no soul. But when it comes to rhythm and clapping on beats, I'm pretty sure I got that down. And so when the person next to me is fucking up, I'm like, copy what I'm doing.
Susan!
I'm not going to copy you because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't have any rhythm.
yeah,
Mike Delaware.
Mike, what's your pet peeve?
Oh boy.
Pet peeve in the stadium?
In the stadium. Why they don't have
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
Pepsi.
I mean, the easiest one is
I got a list.
sit down.
Oh.
Sit down.
Hey,
Shut up.
You don't want to tell me that.
Don't tell me
I
to sit down in the
can't do
stadium.
it.
Actually, no. How about you stand the fuck up? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing right now. We're supposed to be standing up and yelling.
Yeah, Gertrude.
2010 Fresno State game. I'm literally the aisle behind in the North Stadium. They don't have the barriers, right? You can the walkway isn't blocked off by the front row, right? This gentleman was north of 350.
Big gentleman.
Probably north of 80, had a crutch and was listening to the game on his radio, but was in the section right where the walkway is right in front of you. It was yelling at every person walking in the aisle to sit down.
No.
I lost about
You
halfway
can
through the
fuck
second
right
quarter.
off. That's Randy.
Yeah.
Put a bag on him too.
So when Amir Abdullah's returning that kick back for a touchdown, he's going, I can't see.
Yes. Legitimately. Yeah. Losing his mind at it too.
That just drives me nuts.
And believe it or not, he let us know how long he's had those tickets.
Oh, of course.
boy, sure.
Of course they did. There's some guy that was walking up the seats when I sat in the south end zone, and this guy, I'm telling you, it took him an eternity to get up the south end zone.
Sure.
And one week I finally was just like, hey, you're almost there. You got it. And he turned to me and said, I know where I'm going. I know how far away I am.
Sure.
I've been sitting in these seats for 50 years.
At the
Dude,
same,
I'm
at the
trying
same
to
time,
just tip.
I can't wait to be that guy.
Yeah.
Connor, what's your pet peeve?
Okay, so I actually I was gonna go with the people that sit down and shut up when it's like we're down 10.
The blue hairs.
Or it's like this is the time they need you. However, since Mike already took it, I'm gonna go with the people that sit around you that are constantly screaming, "This is what the play call should have been."
Oh, that guy is
the player coach.
Yeah.
Or the fan
The
coach.
fan coach.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they're getting paid
Armchair.
a lot of money to be down there, and we are not.
I can't remember what game it was. I was there in 09. This guy in front of me kept standing up and yelling, "Come on, Watson!" Like it got to the point where he was like rooting for Sean Watson versus like the play on the field. I was like, that's where we are as a fan base. Come on, Watson.
Come on,
Yeah.
Watson. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that one kills me. Kyle, what do you got? What's yours?
Okay, this is number one for me. The opponent has gotten 4 first downs.
Oh no,
They're on the goal
Oh, I
line.
know where you're going.
And everybody in the stadium, it's 3rd and goal, whatever. Everybody in the stadium's going,
Hey,
It's
man, the
3 and
biology
out.
major doesn't know what that means, okay?
It's 3 and out.
Yeah.
That means that they did not get a first down. It's 3rd down on their first possession. That's what that means.
Yeah,
So
you can
stop doing that.
You can throw the bones.
That's a good
Do not put the 3
but-
up there.
Yeah, they just do this, though. It's like, hey, man, it's the 16th first down of this drive.
Yeah. Dude, they've been driving. They drove 90.
Yeah, this is a
but they've had the
99-yard
ball for
drive.
They've had the ball for 10 minutes.
But it says 3rd down.
Sometimes it doesn't, though. Sometimes it doesn't stay there now.
Come on.
It's 2nd and 8.
Oh my god, that's great.
That's a good one. I like that.
Good job,
Yeah,
KB.
that's a
Thank
great
you.
one.
Jimmie Allen.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you had mentioned we should have Coke instead of Pepsi.
The official-
Coca-Cola.
The official
Yeah,
soft, the
thank you,
official
Kyle.
soft drink of After Hours on 1620. The Zone.
And the official soft drink of the national championship Nebraska football teams. Yes.
Yes, correct.
I mean,
Superior brand.
Yeah.
Not even debatable.
And this is coming from someone that my brother works for Pepsi, and I still say, "Fuck Pepsi."
He probably does too. For what it's
Yeah,
worth.
probably. I think he's trying to find another job. I think.
yeah, with Coke.
Yeah,
Good luck to
maybe.
your brother. I know a guy. I can get him in touch. with
Oh,
the guy.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What do I have anything else?
We've got so we're at like an hour 17, so
are we?
we're wrapping up.
Is there any good comments in the chat?
Yeah.
I told my wife this was only going to be an hour, so I feel bad for lying. to her.
Hour
Then,
17.
if that's the case, then we're at 47 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Okay. Couple comments. BA says the fan coach is bad even at the high school level.
Oh, it's even worse at the level below that, by the way.
Yeah.
You should go to a freaking peewee.
As somebody,
Baseball
as somebody
game.
that coached youth football for 13 years, it's way worse at that level.
Josh says my pet peeve is when it's 100 degrees and some greaser or greased water. Oh, Jesus.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let's try that one again.
Greaser.
A greasy what?
Wait,
Outsiders over here.
Yeah, when he pulls up in his T-bird.
It has to do with people sweating and because everybody's so close.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah,
That's bad, of course. They can't fit in their one seat. They're in my seat, too.
yeah, exactly. And then just a couple comments
You
about
guys are
like
lucky old people are on Twitter right now.
yeah, no
Oh,
kidding.
trust me, they see us on Facebook. They
Yeah.
love us.
They love us.
Yeah. BA doesn't agree. If you're a better fan if you wear red to the game. I mean,
Well, you're wrong.
We're not
you can
saying
agree
you're-
all you want. You're just incorrect.
We're not saying you're a better fan by wearing red. We're saying you're a correct.
We're just saying that you can look at a picture and go, "Oh, I should wear that to the game."
Sea of wait, hold on,
Sea of
help me.
red.
Sea
Red.
of
R
red.
E. I know it's 3 letters.
Yes,
Very-
and Connor, I know sea of gray, but it is
So,
red.
but-
You
but-
are
but
wearing a red shirt.
I did not think about this proponent of it though. Maybe some of these folks are colorblind.
Maybe
so
20,000 of the fans are colorblind.
You want to know what's crazy?
If I ever see 20,000 non-red color shirts in that state,
What would you? How many people would you kill?
that might be the end of it, man. I just might just swear off sports for the rest
Jimmy,
of my life.
you know what's crazy is I am colorblind and
Yeah.
I still
I believe-
manage to wear red.
It's incredible. See, and that's my biggest problem. It's like
Yeah.
there is no excuse. There's literally no reason.
Does it
for
help
you
that
not
your
to wear red.
girlfriend labels
Yeah,
all the
no.
colors for you?
My girlfriend lays out my outfits for me.
People are like, "What, you don't own a black shirt?" I'm like, "No, I do, and I wear it on Sunday. I wear it on Wednesday. I wear it
always-
during an away game. It's fine. Just don't show up to the stadium in it." Because literally, since the dawn of time, people have been wearing the color red to that stadium. And you are not smart enough. What's this person's name? BA to look at the screen and go,
No, we love BA.
BA. I'm sure you're a fine
He's a
gentleman.
good egg.
He is.
But,
He's a
like,
great egg.
I just don't understand the thought process behind it. Maybe you bought a brand new black polo and that's what you want to wear. Great, wear it on Friday. I'm sure wherever you work allows you to wear a Nebraska polo the day before game day. Just
I get it.
show up wearing red, like literally everyone else.
I love BA Ben Audi.
He is now
But-
writing for our podcast. So shout out to
yeah,
BA.
shout out to BA.
We love BA, but
BA is furiously typing right now.
Hey,
This
next
guy-
article. Next article.
Next
Coach.
article.
It's
Next
fuck
next
Jimmie
article.
Allen.
Is Jimmie
Well,
Allen
it could be
overrated?
that,
Yeah.
but or it could be what color should Husker
Why
fans
you-
wear in the stadium, and why should they not wear red?
Yeah,
There's
please.
an article for you, Coach.
Literally, the only answer I've ever gotten is I wanted to wear this shirt.
Because it's a Husker shirt.
Then I'm sorry, you're probably not very high on the IQ level. That's all I got for you.
Where all my red shirts are dirty.
Kyle's
Wear the dirty shirt then.
Kyle's over there biting his lip. I'm probably like pissing off everybody. Like the no block, no rock stock is plummeting right now.
No, BA is like
business is booming.
This
baby.
guy's like a moron.
BA says no. He wears red to every game.
Oh, yeah.
He just said he doesn't care if anybody else.
Okay.
You know.
That's fair. That's fair.
See, but that's
I take back everything I ever said.
That's the difference between us, Ben Audi. Like we get pissed off irrationally about other things
and
too.
the simplest things too. Like,
oh yeah.
Gosh,
It's not. Listen, it's not healthy.
Look, you have to be passionate to do this. You
Obviously.
have to be.
Look at
'Cause
us.
I can't tell you how many people text me, tweet me, email me, whatever. How do I get into radio? How do I do podcasting? And 99% of those people come back with, I just didn't have enough time. And it's like, this is super time consuming. Like what you guys do is super time consuming. We've been here for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And like, you know how many people don't have an hour and a half in a week to do something like this?
well,
It's
not to mention the hour and a half that we do this, and then the
prep
hours,
work, the prep work.
the prep, then the
Yeah.
hours of after this
Content.
to put out content of what we just did for an hour.
We have
and a
other
half.
jobs too.
and we all
You're
have
lucky
full time
that-
jobs.
Right.
You're
You
lucky
know?
that I suck enough that you guys are gonna have to edit or reuse any of this.
Oh no, we're perfect. It's
Stop
gonna be
that.
so good. We're gonna just keep showing. Jimmie Allen says Nebraska's going 10-2.
Yep, there you go.
Question mark? Click, 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 click.
Yeah. You're welcome. We need some of those royalties, brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We get a ton.
All of it.
KB, anything else?
No, we're all good. Paul
How
says,
dry is that well?
Paul says you have to chill. You have to chill all of those beers.
Yeah,
Chill all of them. No, they're mostly
you guys
empty.
haven't been hitting the head too
We
much.
have them in a fridge.
We have them in a fridge. So
I
they-
think
The
he's
ones we're
referring to the
drinking
fact
are
that
cheap.
none of you have been drinking them. Is
Oh,
what
I
he's
have.
saying.
I'm out.
It's gone.
Oh,
yeah.
Mine's almost
we
full.
tried.
stand corrected.
Before we sign off, do want to tell the listeners that we do officially have a new website design. I guess it's still the same handle, NBNRPodcast.com, but we now have a blog and we are starting a forum. So a free forum for Husker fans to go and talk about whatever the hell you want. If you like to wear red in the stadium, you can make a forum about it and talk about it with other Husker fans. Should you wear black? Should we wear gray?
No,
We can do it on NBNRPodcast.com. We also have our merch and all that stuff on there, but the website dropped officially today. And
Congrats.
we have an awesome blog writer. Coach BA is going to be writing
he's a
for us.
fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows his shit, and he's writing for us on the podcast. So make sure you go check that out.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Can I say
NBNRPodcast.com.
something that means absolutely nothing to anybody?
Yes.
You guys are fucking killing it, man. I mean this. You guys are fantastic, and I'm a huge fan of what you guys do. Until that happened, but no,
I'm glad
I
you
don't
finally
blame
got
you.
on.
Yeah,
Like,
I am too.
It's been like an on and off thing like for like 2 years, and you finally say,
I should've
"Hey,
just
I got a
annoyed you
week
more.
off," and then I'm like, "Well, we got Tyler Stone that week," and then I can't read a calendar.
Sure.
I'm like, "No, actually, it says
See,
open."
I've noticed that the biggest problem this whole scenario has been Mike just
Mike
can't read.
Yeah. Trust me.
Here we are.
It's been a problem.
I trip over things. I can't read. I spill things.
Yeah, you should be thankful he hasn't
Here we
spilled
are.
anything today.
This has been incredibly fun, and I appreciate
barrier.
you guys having me on. And I am a huge fan of what you guys are doing. I'm really happy for your guys' success.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Same to you.
thank you.
Seriously.
Jimmy,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Jimmie Allen. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, not your address.
Yeah,
Cav.
I wasn't gonna say it this time. I was gonna say it.
you have my address. That's a little
Hey,
concerning.
relax.
No, I
Yes.
always, when
Yes.
he goes through, tell him where people can find you: Facebook, Twitter,
Oh,
Instagram.
yeah,
I always ask for their address too.
No,
No
you
one's
just-
ever
my
given
social
it.
security number.
Yeah.
Why not?
You
Date
put
of
it out
birth.
there.
The
What-
last three on the back of my credit card.
What street did you grow up on?
9th and Hickory.
What was your mom's maiden name?
None of your business.
There is the question we
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me at Jimmie Allen 1620 on all socials. You can follow After Hours at After Hours 1620 as well.
And you can listen to that show every day.
As the sports schedule allows, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
There it is.
We're on after John Peterson and Josh Peterson and John Bishop on 1620 Zone.
Yes. And sportsmanlike conduct, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, those guys. One of those days we'll get these guys on. We haven't had those guys on yet. but-
Yeah, we'll see.
Good dudes.
Yeah.
Two of the best people that I've had the pleasure of working with in radio.
yeah, I mean, you pop
Damn.
onto all their shows. I mean, you're in the morning, you're
Yeah.
afternoon.
Gary Sharp sucks, but
Someday Gary will come on too.
He
but
listens. That's why I said that.
That's good.
Okay. And Mike already mentioned the website, NBNRPodcast.com. On all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at NBNR Podcast. Go follow us. Give us a 5-star review. Like, leave a comment. Even if it's negative, just leave a 5-star review. Please. That's all that matters.
Literally everything you need to know about NBNR podcast can be found on NBNRPodcast.com. It's a brand new website.
Go there. Even if it says like, you don't have, it's not secure. Just go to it anyway.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to do anything to you.
We're only going to see
hit advanced, hit proceed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it
That'll
will
be
be
fixed
secured.
soon. Yeah. It'll be secured soon. Yeah.
Okay. We're all good. We're signing off. Nothing
do it.
else.
Nothing else.
Gary Sharp doesn't suck, by the way.
We're going to cut that part. Okay. They're pointing. Hold on. Are we good?
We're good. They're working it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Working it out. I am one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Connor Cadillac.
Kyle Byers.
Jimmie Allen.
There it is.
All right.
As always, beat UTEP and GBR.
Boom.